Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. And as Celtic suffered their first domestic loss of the season on Thursday afternoon at Ibrox, we really need to get back on track tomorrow as we welcome St Mirren to Celtic Park. So, we've got a few things to cover today, including a mini-match preview, some transfer stories that have surfaced over the last 48 hours as well. Stay with me. It's a Saturday afternoon. I'm not going to take all day. We're in and we're out. So, let's talk about that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be appreciated. Thank you for the support since the turn of 2025. We have started off the year strong. I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that there was quite a big talking point on Thursday afternoon, but nonetheless, fantastic support. I thank you all. Comment section has been fun, to say the least, and I'm sure that will continue. A huge game for Celtic tomorrow at Celtic Park. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to talk about some of those transfer stories as well. It's weird. I don't usually do a video on a Saturday afternoon unless it's a match reaction, so I want this over and done with, to be quite honest. I want to chill. So let's get it done. Okay, I know a few of you will be clicking on this video expecting to hear more about the Kieran Tierney situation, to see if there's any updates on that. I'll cut you to the chase right now. There's no more updates from what we spoke about yesterday. Everything remains the same. It still looks highly likely that he will return to Celtic in some capacity, whether that's through this January transfer window or at the end of the season. So if you've not watched the video from yesterday, I highly recommend that you go and watch it to get all the details. Things are looking good though. Kieran Tierney most likely going to become a Celtic player. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high. I don't want to get heartbroken, but everything's going steadily, everything's going nicely, and I hope it stays that way. A couple of players are set to leave the club imminently on permanent deals, it sounds like. We'll start off with Alexandro Bern. There was reports that came out yesterday that a deal had been rejected by Celtic and that Internacional of Brazil were way off the money, the price that Celtic wanted for the permanent departure of Alexandro Bern. That, however, has now been corrected because a meeting at Celtic Park yesterday saw Internacional come to an agreement for the transfer of Alexandro Bern. This article that came from Gaucha ZH of Brazil said that Internacional are preparing to buy Bernabé and hoping that the announcement should happen soon. And in that article detailing the meetings between Celtic and Bernabé's representatives, it said basically along the lines of there is an agreement in place, there's been a significant advance in the purchase of the left back, and the total of €5.5 million should be met and confirmed on Wednesday. So it looks as though Bernabé is moving on. His very brief Celtic career, and not so memorable Celtic career, is set to come to an end. It looks as though he will be the first departure of this transfer window, at least on a permanent basis. And Celtic have done pretty well. I mean, €5.5 million, you're talking roughly somewhere between £4.5–5 million. I believe that's profit on what we paid for him. And when you think about how bad he was for us, and I mean that with all due respect to the guy, when you think about how bad he was for us, we've turned a profit. That's pretty impressive. And it's just another one of those ones, we've done it with O, we've done it with a few other players in recent years where we've kind of went, how have we ended up making a profit on this? We're run very well as a business. And that's what kind of separates us at the top at the minute. So, yeah, Bernabé looks as though he's moving on. We'll get an announcement of that very soon. Best of luck to him. Seems to be doing well in Brazil, and maybe that's just where he is destined to be. And talking about South Americans, Luis Palma looks set to leave the club as well. To who? Well, that's still up for debate. It seems there's a few clubs in for him in this January transfer window, including Genoa of Italy, because Italian publication Genova Today reported that Luis Palma is wanted by Genoa, and I believe Patrick Vieira, who is in charge, their article basically said that Patrick Vieira really wants a winger and really likes the look of Luis Palma, but he will face stiff competition. So that headline from Genoa Geneva today, saying that not only Genoa interested, but Olympiacos of Greece, of course, where we signed Luis Palma from when he was in the Greek Super League, Atlanta United in the MLS, and Orlando City in the MLS as well. So it seems there is a four-way battle at hand here to land the signature of Luis Palma, another player who we paid roughly £3.5 million for. I think with a battle on their hands, looks like another one we could somehow turn a profit on. Madness to think about, really, that we're making profit on all of these duds. But it does look as though Luis Palma will be departing soon as well. But when we have more finalised details of where that's going to be, he's off to, we'll be talking about it here on the channel. So in summary, for the opening few days of the January transfer window, Celtic look busy. Kieran Tierney is in negotiations with the club for a return. Alexandro Bern looks set to join Internacional on a permanent basis throughout the next week. Odin Thiago Holm looks set to be moving to LAFC in the MLS on a loan deal. Luis Palma wanted by Genoa and the clubs discussed a moment ago. And finally, of course, Stephen Welsh looks set to have the green light on his loan move to FC Mechelen in Belgium. So 4 people already departing and potentially Kieran Tierney coming in. It's only January 4th. What a busy window this is going to be for Celtic. So transfer window aside, it's a big weekend for Celtic. We need to get back on track against St Mirren at Celtic Park tomorrow. Should the game go ahead, we're hearing there could be heavy snow in Glasgow tomorrow, and of course a few games up and down the country are at jeopardy to the weather. I assume the game will go ahead. I mean, honestly, if it got called off, I wouldn't mind. I don't like the thought of driving to Parkhead in that. But nonetheless, a big game. And the disappointment against Rangers was just, you know, it was obviously one that was hard to take. It was sore. It was like a punch to the balls, to put it bluntly. And we need to get back in winning ways tomorrow. We need to make sure we keep that gap between us and Rangers as big as it possibly can be. And that can only be done through winning. St Mirren have had a decent season. They sit 5th in the table right now. They have lost their last 2 games in the Scottish Premiership. However, not so bad form, winning 3 of their last 5. And a team that have caused Celtic problems, of course, a number of times over the years. However, it's Celtic Park. It's a Sunday 3 o'clock kickoff. Listen, we know what we should be doing by now. It's not exactly rocket science, but St Mirren will bring a challenge. A few players off the boil, to put it bluntly, to put it, I think, mildly, in fact. I don't think that's even putting it truthfully, to be quite honest. That a few players were off the boil against Rangers on Thursday, and we probably should expect to see a shuffle up in that starting 11. But who exactly? Well, this is my predicted starting 11. I would be shocked to see Kasper Schmeichel lose his place between the sticks, despite conceding 3 on Thursday. So, of course, he remains in my 11. The back 4, I think we'll see a couple of changes. First of all, Austin Trusty has to come in for Liam Scales. Now, I know there's some sick part of Brendan Rodgers' mind, which wouldn't surprise me if he kept Scales in the starting 11 just to prove a point and get the reaction that he wants from him. But I think after a performance like that, you need to start Trusty. Trusty, who rarely put a foot wrong in recent months, deserves that spot back, I would say. So I think Trusty will come in. I also think Alex Valley will come in as well, just because Taylor's been favoured the last few games, and maybe it's about time for a wee change on that left-hand side. Greg Taylor might not even be a Celtic player much longer, and I suppose Valley might not be a Celtic player much longer either, but you know, there's players there to relieve pressure, and Valley was brought in for that reason. So I think we'll see the 2 changes to the back 4. Midfield 3, similar to what I said about Scales, I think Hatate needs to be dropped. The performance was poor, and for that reason I think that Engels deserves to come in and take that place if he's feeling better, if he's ready to go. So I'm going to go for Engels, McGregor and Bernardo. A lot of people will be shouting about Luke McCowan, who I also think is in for a chance of starting this game. I really do. I've just went for Engels, McGregor and Bernardo here because I have a feeling that will be the 3. And then for the front 3, I think I've got to say that Ida should start. Kyogo wasn't in the game much on Thursday, and I don't think that's necessarily his fault, but we're still seeing a lack of goals. So yeah, change it up, give Ida an opportunity. Kuhn and Maida to support him on each wing. They need to play better than what they did on Thursday, that's a certainty. But yeah, a few changes I think for Celtic this weekend. Not exactly an easy team to predict. I still think there's players that could start this game that I don't have here, but yeah, Rodgers has his options, and that's what matters most. So there you go, that is my mini preview for tomorrow. I'm going to get out of here. As I said, it's Saturday and I don't want to take up too much of your time, so there's everything you need to know ahead of the weekend. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow for the match reaction, and then it's back to normal on Monday. The festive period is well and truly over. 2025 is underway, and we can get that minging part of the year over and done with. Thank God. So, until tomorrow, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all next time.